I'm not the most attractive guy in the world. I'm just not. I'm not the most attractive guy in the world. I'm not Brad Pitt. And I recognize that at an early moment in my life, that I'm not Brad Pitt. I don't have the looks that are going to get the girls just immediately coming to me like a lot of the other kids had in middle school and high school. But I recognized at an early age that I had a personality and had the ability to talk. And as a result of that, I was able to be fairly successful, I would say, in my life with the ladies. And I started developing this philosophy as I got into college, and this is going to make sense in a second when I talk about this girl that I met in college, that I'm not Brad Pitt, but Brad Pitt, you can never be a Mitt. And if Brad Pitt can never be a Mitt, then maybe there's something special to a Mitt. Maybe there's something unique and intrinsic to the fabric of a Mitt that Brad Pitt or anyone else, no matter how attractive they are physically, can never replace. You see, because when you realize that you don't have a certain asset that is able to attract the thing you want to attract, then you have to find different ways to get to where you want to get to. And as a result of me not being the most physically attractive person in the world, and I can admit that, I'm not saying I'm the ugliest person in the world, I'm just saying, look, I'm not Brad Pitt. But Brad Pitt is not a Mitt. You start to develop this level of security and confidence in the things that you do have that others don't, that are specifically unique to you. And once you believe that you have those things that no one else can take away, you start to become really confident. And you start to be able to talk to girls very easily. I met this girl in college one day. It was Super Bowl weekend. It was 2 years ago, 2020, Super Bowl weekend. I had just come from Applebee's. For those who don't know what Applebee's is, if you're international, Applebee's is, I think, one of the most premier restaurants in the United States. Now, if you're in the United States, you probably disagree with me on that. But nonetheless, it's a great place to get like mozzarella sticks and quesadillas. So we go to Applebee's. I come from Applebee's. I go to my friend's house who's having a little bit of a Super Bowl after party. Get together. We're just chilling. FaceTime this girl. Haven't talked to her in a couple months. Randomly met her at a New Year's Eve party. I was like, hey, you want to come to the Super Bowl party? Hadn't talked to her in 2 months. She was like, sure, I'll come. Why did she come? Because I think she wanted to talk to me. Why? Because at that New Year's party, I felt like we had some chemistry, but we weren't able to necessarily explore it. I went to physics class instead. I should have went to chemistry. So we get to the party, at the Super Bowl party. She comes in the party and we're talking, we're chilling. Next thing you know, we stay up for like 6 hours at my friend's house that we're having the party in, and we're just talking for 6 hours. Nothing physical, nothing, just talking, just exploring each other's consciousness. Next morning I wake up, I get this massive text message from her saying how excited she was to talk to me last night. And it made me feel really good because I got to connect with someone who you could say is far out of my league. I obviously can't show her a picture or anything, but like, goodness, she was absolutely stunning. And I'm not saying that to hype myself off. You can believe whatever you want, but she was out of my league if there is such a thing as a league. And she gives me this message, and I'm so flattered at looking at this message because we did nothing physical. We just had a normal conversation, and it inspired her for at 6 a.m. in the morning, 2 hours after I left her at 4 a.m. to go to my apartment. I get this text message saying how happy she was to have this conversation with me, and so we're having this conversation, and I'm really excited for it. 7 days later, I ask her out on a date because I'm like, well, if we enjoyed that conversation, why wouldn't we enjoy having a date? And then we have a date, and it's a great time. And for a month, I guess you could say we have a situationship, not a relationship, not just a friendship, a situationship. A situationship means you're allowed to kiss each other and you're allowed to talk to each other. So it was a really, really special time in my life. And then obviously that moment ended. Super Bowl weekend, 2022, 2 years later. I'm feeling nostalgic. I'm like, you know what? I want to talk to this girl again. Like, I really feel like talking to her. I haven't talked to her in a while. I send her a decent text message. I'm like, hey, it's been a year. You want to go to Applebee's? Just catch up. We can watch the game. It's kind of nostalgic to me because we came from Applebee's 2 years ago when this whole thing kind of started. And I had to admit, I was really missing college. I mean, I'm 24. I graduated when I was 22. And like, I was missing college. Like, I don't know what to say. I was missing the experiences of being in college. And I wanted to recapture the essence of some of those experiences by texting her and going on, just like a simple date to Applebee's. And she never responded. To this day, she has never responded. It's been 2 weeks. She hasn't responded. And I'm like, you could at least just say no. You don't have to not respond because the message went through, right? The nature of iOS allows you to see if it's delivered. So it was delivered. And there was not a response. Now, some girl that did not necessarily, it kind of broke my heart a little bit. Not really. I'm being a little bit I'm being hyperbolic here. But I've had moments in my life where girls have broken my heart. And this thing didn't necessarily break my heart, but it stung. Like it kind of stung. And Cathie Wood selling 11 million shares of Palantir. Yes, that was a 5-minute lead up just to get to this point. That's what we're doing, because that's how big this is feeling to me, and that's how annoying this is to me. But it's not breaking my heart. It's stinging. Cathie Wood selling 11 million shares of Palantir. To me, it stings. And it stings because a lot of people, including myself, I'm not going to ignore myself. I'm not going to be a saint and be like, I'm buying it because Cathie's not buying it. Of course, when I saw her buying it, I was like more interested in the stock because I'm like, Cathie's buying it. It's Cathie Wood, right? She got Tesla right. She's doing this. She's doing that. Now I think people look at ARK and they're like, stay away from that if she's buying it. But nonetheless, when she was buying Palantir, it got me more excited for Palantir. Her liquidating 11 million shares of her position, to me, is the most egregious thing I've seen her do over the past couple of months. And there's been some crazy things that she has done, but this was weird. And this stings. And originally, with that girl that I met in college, we had an amazing time together, and I thought it wouldn't be a big deal for us to hang out again, even though we hadn't seen each other for a while. And with Cathie Wood, I'm like, all right, you bought us at 45, you bought us at 30, you bought us 25, but you liked us then. You really liked us then. And even though it's been a long time since we've seen each other, it's been a long time since I saw that girl. It's been a long time since Cathie has seen a reasonably nice stock price on Palantir, like all of us. We can still go get lunch again. We can still go into a pool for a dip. Why not? If you liked me in 2020, you could like me in 2022. It's been a little bit of time, but there's nothing crazy that's happened since then. If you like me at 30, if you like me at 26, why can't you like me at $10? Why can't you like me at $11? In fact, if you liked me at 16 3 weeks ago, why don't you like me at 12? And it stings, right? It's not breaking my heart, but it's stinging. And for all the people that are asking in the comments, like, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? Well, I already made a video a day ago saying, when she sold 5 million shares, saying, I just don't care anymore. And my response is the same. I don't care anymore. I don't know if she has a clue of what she's doing. And again, in that video, I said I'm not smarter than Cathie. I said I agree with Cathie on inflation. I'm making another video soon reacting to her CNBC interviews talking about I agree with what she's saying, even though it's, you can see some of the fear in her voice while she's talking about her narrative, but I agree with her. But I just don't get this. And because I don't get this, I can't attach weight to it. I'm definitely not selling my position because, I mean, with the amount of research I've done on this company, for me to sell out, for like, that was the other thing. If you sell, what are you going to do with this money? Like, let's say you're down 5,000. Where are you going to get that 5,000 back? In this market, where are you going to get that 5,000 back to break even? Where? It's like, so that's the first reason for people who are thinking of selling because of Cathie. It's like, well, where else do you think you're going to get your money? Are you going to put it in Roblox or Roku and hope that they, so that's the first thing. And number two, it's like the amount of research I've done substantiates enough of a feeling within me, along with the community that's being built around Palantir, that's not a Dogecoin community. That's not a hype community. That's a community that's really substantiated with people that actually care about what's going on, what's happening. I just did an interview with CodeStrap today that just came out. I mean, it's an hour and 20 minutes of just pure amazingness of him explaining the potential of this technology. This is a real thing. This is a company that's growing 41% year over year. This is real. I'm not selling because Cathie, for some reason, feels like she has to sell. In fact, on her newsletter that just came out, the reason they sold, let me read this. Shares of Palantir fell nearly 16% on Thursday after the company reported fourth quarter earnings, while surpassing revenue expectations with 34% year-over-year growth thanks to success in U.S. commercial. Palantir reported a significant deceleration in growth in the larger government division, suggesting perhaps a change in governmental procurement behavior. And this is on their official newsletter. I can put the link of this in the description, but if you just look up ARK's newsletter, you'll see that's their paragraph explanation for why they sold, or for their moves that they've made. This is insane to me. I mean, this is absolutely insane. And I don't take how I'm reacting to it right now as like I'm angry, I'm mad or anything. It's just like kind of flustered. It's like, so governmental revenue grew 47% year over year. So the actual revenue that they get from their existing clients in the government grew almost 50%. But the number of clients they had from Q4 2020 to Q4 2021 stayed flat at 90. I get that. I'm like, okay, government stayed flat. They weren't able to accelerate new number of governmental clients. But that doesn't mean you liquidate 11 million shares. Like, the weird part to me is government revenue grew, so they're able to get more dollars. They weren't able to get more clients, but they were able to grow commercial at over 100%. So Did 11 million shares rested on the hypothesis that you want them to work more with the government? If AI is an 85 trillion market opportunity, as you're talking about in all your fancy research, and Palantir is one of the biggest technologies that spent 17 years developing artificial intelligence and machine learning protocols that are actually able to be scaled and operate, and they've been operating with many, many commercial clients, and they've been growing with those commercial clients, are you going to liquidate 11 million shares because you feel that the government doesn't have enough use of AI? By the way, what's the one company that actually works with the US government? Making sure they have AI so they're ready to go against all their adversaries. Well, it's not some of the other tech companies. So it's like, it's kind of, the logic does, I feel like either they know something and they're BSing, or they're actually just putting out this nonsense that we sold 11 million shares because we see significant deacceleration in the government. Like, even if they're correct, let's take them at their highest level. Okay, government's deaccelerating. Don't you want them to go for the commercial? The governmental TAM is not the commercial TAM, right? The government is cool. It's nice to have government. It's steady income. It's steady revenue. But commercial is where the opportunities are. Commercial is where the growth potential is. They're not hitting an S curve in growth off the backs of the government. Like, I think they needed the money to go buy the other dips that they were more excited about. And what stings me, right? What breaks my heart is this idea that they don't see the potential in Palantir, and they see the potential in Roku more than Palantir. Because if Palantir is dipping and the government is the reason you bought it originally, like, you were buying it at $27 because of the government. So it's like, now that the government's going down a little bit, you lose your conviction, and like, you go to advertising with Roku because that's the upside. They're going to be on every TV like, advertising is the innovation you're betting on over AI with that's expanding in the commercial sector, which is necessary to generate those massive amounts of TAM. It doesn't make sense to me. So that's how I feel. It doesn't make sense to me. Just like, I'm not going to say her name, but just like that girl not texting me back, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why wouldn't you text me back? Like, why not? Like, did anything crazy happen that you don't want to go? Like, even just say, no, I don't want to do it, but like, just not text back. It's weird to me. I wouldn't do that to someone. And for Cathie to just sell 11 million shares because, oh, government growth is deaccelerating. It's like, the $85 trillion AI opportunity that you see is because of the government. Okay, cool. That makes sense. It's like, it's not like I want her fund to fail now, but if she fully liquidates out of Palantir, I think she only has like 7 million shares left, or 9 million shares. I wouldn't care anymore. I just don't care. I mean, it's going to get to the point where I'm like, all right, Roku and Roblox, those are the big, Zoom, that's the big winner. Yes, sure. Go ahead. Those are my thoughts. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know if she's going to fully liquidate her position, but selling that many at once kind of leads me to think she might be liquidating. And if she is, all right, good riddance. I believe in my own belief. If you want to stay back, if you want to stay, that's fine. If you want to wait till it gets to 7 and buy more of a dip, that's fine. But I don't know what the plan is, because when you sell for that much of a loss, it seems like you're getting ready to liquidate everything. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. We'll see. But those are my thoughts. This is how I feel. I don't get it at all, and I'm not really fazed by it. I don't want this video to make it seem like my conviction is bad, or like I'm really upset or anything like it's really not. It's just me analyzing and being very honest in front of the camera right after I got this news that I don't get it. I literally don't get it. I'm happy with whatever she does. I wish her the best, but for that to be the justification to sell 11 million shares of a company that you were very excited about just a couple months ago, to the point where you were buying it at very, very high prices, it's confusing. And what's not confusing is the moat on Palantir, and that code strap interview that just came out that I highly recommend everyone watch. That demystifies a lot of the confusion that exists with Palantir. There is an execution risk to Palantir. There is not a moat risk, in my opinion. The moat is big. The moat is software. The moat in this century, as Karp said, is only software. They just need to execute, and I have full faith that they're going to be able to execute. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments about Cathie Wood selling another 11 million shares of Palantir. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.